the show, everybody. Okay, guys, who has problems sleeping? Like everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even about whether it's a full night's sleep or a partial night's sleep, but oftentimes people just say, I didn't sleep well last night.
Right. Yeah, it's true. I mean, even if you're like, I know there were people in the background that just said, no, I don't have a problem sleeping. But every once in a while, even you have a challenge sleeping, whether it was the makeup of the day or something stressful that's unusual in your life that you're dealing with. Yeah, all of those things are factors. But there's actually some real statistics around this.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I read a study. I can't remember exactly where it came from, but it was from 2010 where they did two sets of groups of people, and they both were given the same amount of food, so the same dietary piece, but one of the groups were deprived of sleep where the other one was not. And what they founded was the group that was deprived of sleep actually had less cognitive function. They were gaining more weight.
Yep.
And of course, they were not getting into that circadian rhythm of sleep. So they were sleeping even worse than they were even being deprived of.
And it's, you know, the interesting thing about that is that when you go into these double-blinded studies and you actually see the evidence of where the only differentiating factor is a lack of sleep, and then the detrimental impact, even in short order, right? It doesn't have to be years into this. It's even sometimes days and maybe weeks into, you're already starting to see some powerful impacts that actually harm the body, harm the psyche, harm a lot of the functions within the body. There was another study that estimates that about 30% of the population deals with some form of insomnia. Now what that means is it's not diagnosed insomnia. Now, there's obviously a portion of that 30% that's diagnosed with insomnia, but then there's the rest of us who we just don't sleep well, right? Kai, why on earth would Solex come out with a sleep product, right? Why are you coming out with a sleep product? There's thousands of sleep products in the marketplace. And it's true. There are thousands of sleep products in the marketplace, but yet we still have 100 million people who have some challenge sleeping. And my guess is that the other 200 million people in the United States alone,
they're still having problems.
They're bouncing in and out of challenges. It's just not as consistent as everybody else, right?
Because sleep isn't just about one thing or another. I really like the concept of neurotransmitters. How do we shut the brain down?
Yeah.
How do we calm the body down? But then there's also some other processes that happen during the circadian rhythm of sleep. So in Chinese medicine, these circadian rhythms happen within a 2-hour block of time throughout the evening that shows that something in the body is trying to do its job and is having a hard time. So oftentimes when I talk to my clients, there is a window of time in the evening or the night when they're sleeping that comes up more regular than not. And that's between 1 and 3 a.m. But there's also a process that happens in the body between 1 and 3. And that is when the liver is resetting, it's recharging, it's dumping, so that you have a process that happens where your body then eliminates toxins, typically in the early morning when you arise.
So that actually becomes a leading factor towards getting the body to wake up at that time to deal with that.
But a lot of times I get the question from individuals that says, okay, but most people assume that they need a liver support because they drink alcohol or they do something else that makes their liver not process very well.
Okay.
But the reality is we are subjected to toxins every single
time.
day of our life. And our body has to reduce that toxic load. And that is what our liver's job is to do. So it's not about doing something right or wrong. It's a process that happens naturally every single day with every single human being.
And because that process is happening primarily while you're sleeping, the idea is to get the resources available for that process to be efficient, effective, and not disruptive. When you're talking about trying to get the body a best sleep scenario, including the liver function, you're talking about not just the process, but the calming the brain, calming the muscular structure, calming the entire body in such a way that it just gets to do what it needs to do so that it gets refreshed in the process, it cleanses in the process, and then it's empowered.
Yeah, because we need to have the body has to come down from a state of go, go, go during the day. And in order to do that, sometimes the body just needs those extra little herbal supports.
Yes.
And when the body has those on board, it's able to create a calm state. So you're not dumping cortisol. You're actually starting to dump the melatonin that the body naturally produces to create a calming state.
A serving size is 5 sprays. There's 30 servings in the bottle. Now, that is this like perfect ideal structure based on our research, right? But not every person that's taking it is the subject of the research.
That's correct. Right? As well as knowing that it's coming in the form that it's coming in, a liposomal form, you can adjust what you need. Some people are going to need a spray. Some people are going to need 6 or 7 sprays. So adjust it accordingly because that's what it's designed to do. But also another thing I want to mention here is the technology that has been so beautifully put together with Solex is that it's in a nano form.
Yes.
Which means that the dosages that you see on the bottle are going to be very different from a dosage you would see in a capsule.
Yes, very
different. And there's a reason for that.
There's a massive reason for that. And this, as we've gained even greater mastery in the nano process and understanding with what is out there, to go to framework nano in and of itself, let's hit that real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Nano is at 1/1000th of a meter. It is minuscule. Like you can't see it with the naked eye, essentially, the separated parts. Why do you do that? Well, for us, the strategy in going to nano form with Blue, with Pulse, with D3K2, and now with Sleep, the point of it is to improve the reach of what you're giving the body. If you're giving the body a specific ingredient to do a specific task, the normal everyday experience of capsule or powder is you have to give it a lot because then it has to get into the gut. It's going to be destroyed partly in that process. And so we need to get some of it into the bloodstream in order to have an effect. And then we're just going to make sure we get enough in there so that the bloodstream gets what it needs to do so that the person has the impact. And then if there's anything extra, we're just going to pass it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's normal. And the thing is, that's the best that we could do at the time with the technology we had.
Yeah. And that's with every capsule.
Yeah.
That's with every capsule.
Yeah.
Only a small percentage of it actually gets to where it needs to go.
Right. In fact, when you look at certain types of magnesiums, as we were going through this, in normal powder form, not nano size, you can get as low as 7%.
Yeah.
Uptake into the bloodstream.
Absolutely.
That is like, I mean, it's not scary, but like for somebody who's never heard that, it's like, what?
Oh, right. But think about this. This is an overload on that organ we just talked about.
The liver. Right?
Exactly.
And so we're sitting here in a normal process. And the thing is, I'm not knocking, and I don't mean to knock phenomenal product. And I'm sure people take great sleep products. I'm not saying don't take them. What we're trying to do is create an awareness to this, right? So you're aware of what you're taking and the impact on it. One of the things when we strategically moved to nanotechnology and invested heavily in this process, the key with that was, or the important part of that for me, was to not add stress to the body in such a way, you're trying to help the body. Why are we trying to add stress in combination with helping the body?
Yeah, and that also goes along the lines of the least amount of support that you need. 1 spray, 5 sprays, 6 sprays, whatever that is.
Yeah,
goes
adjust.
straight into the mouth, which is where it absorbs and goes straight to the bloodstream.
Straight to the bloodstream. And that's the key, right?
Mhm.
If you can maximize the uptake or the intake, if you can make it whole, if you can make it complete, the body doesn't need very much to be nudged in the direction it needs to be nudged in, especially when you're talking about, I mean, there's great things we could talk about, Blue and Pulse and D3K2 and other products that we'll come out with. But when you're talking about sleep especially, you don't want to introduce something and have it be disruptive, have it cause stress in the process of trying to help a non-stressful experience.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right?
Mhm.
And so in sleep in particular, what's the key? The key is to get enough, an amount, a critical mass, if you will, into the bloodstream and crossing the blood-brain barrier as well, so that it influences the body in the way that it has maximum use.
One of the other things that I really love about this nanotechnology is utilizing the scanner to uptake other frequencies
Yes.
into the already nanotechnology that has been created for us.
Right, and when we talk about that, and for those that are new here, so when we first introduced nanotechnology, one of the things we did is we pulled out a study, I believe it was out of the University of Minnesota, where their research in nanotechnology said that particles can be influenced. The behavior of particles could be influenced at the nano level, meaning what? In my opinion, meaning that frequency can then influence how those particles behave. But think about this, you Cepheid for sleep, you sleep to imprint into your bottle of sleep. The frequency influences the behavior of the nanoparticles. Those that makeup of nanoparticles get sprayed into the body. You've now told your body,
Yep.
get in the frequency state of sleep to receive.
That's exactly right.
You've now influenced the sleep itself, the particles itself, and then allow those particles into the body where then they're aligning,
Right,
they're
but
matching.
then also then the body knows what to do with it.
Exactly.
It's not just to like,
ready. It's
oh, what is this? What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
We've given the instructions through the vibrational pattern into
Yep.
the sleep.
And it's exactly right. To me, there couldn't be a better combination than adding the right frequency to the right chemical,
Yeah.
right structure.
And one of the other things I love about nano I think of as small.
Yep.
I think of as being able to actually get through the aquaporin of a cell. So to get through that doorway of a cell into the actual cell to be released into multiple cells instead
Yes.
of becoming extracellular. Because that's what a lot happens when you have just, non-nano supplements or products
Yep.
and even pill form of products that get into the bloodstream. Sometimes it can't even get into the cell where it needs to. And
Yeah.
that's what the nanotechnology does.
Let's jump into ingredients for just a minute. And let me just kind of, not that anybody's a scientist, and for those that want specific down granular stuff, we'll have a blog post on this. We'll have product information. You can go to your heart's content and read more about it. We're kind of going to do a high level of these ingredients and the calming effect they have on the natural body process. And I like to start with GABA. GABA it's a powerful calming effect in the neurological system. In that whole neurotransport system, it's going to have an influence for calming, right?
That's correct. Yep.
And one of the things I love about GABA in and of itself, like I said, every great sleep product has this in it. But why GABA? Well, one of the things it does is it can, there's an argument in clinical research about how much passes the blood-brain barrier. But the cool thing about GABA is it has its own transport system.
That's right.
And in that system itself, it actually then funnels into the brain itself.
Mhm.
And I love that because all directives, right, are starting here in the brain. All that influence is starting there. And so we need that in there to calm things down at the right time.
That's right. Because oftentimes the brain gets so overloaded and there's just, I always say that there's like this hamster that's just going all
Yeah.
the time, right?
Yep.
GABA is that one that tells the hamster, you actually don't need to play right now.
Yeah,
It's time to
Yeah.
just rest.
I love that. It's saying, shut things down. Let's not send any more signals. Let's not receive anymore. We're closed.
Yep.
right? We're closed for the night.
night.
Right? Perfect, right? So then another ingredient that we have in here is magnesium biglycinate, right?
Yes, I love magnesium glycinate
Mm-hmm.
because it calms the muscles of the body down. It calms
Yes.
the body down. It just creates a sense of relaxation, but not so much of the brain aspect, but more of the body.
Yeah, and I love that because one of the effects of this ingredient in that calming effect, again, and forgive me for using calming too much, I just love the word because it is so descriptive of what's taking place, but we're also dealing with getting the blood pressure aligned. As we get to sleep, we're dealing with blood sugar levels being being aligned so that you stay asleep.
Hormones,
Yep.
gut health.
And then in and of itself, like you said, it's not just the nervous system it's influencing, but it's the muscular system.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So we're getting into that. Let's calm the muscles as well so that it's not looking to send signals and keep the body and keeping the mind awake.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Taurine. You know what? Taurine, I find for those for those new to sleep products, you'll see taurine in there. You're like, wait a minute. I saw that at 7-Eleven in that energy drink.
That's
right?
hysterical. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the interesting thing about taurine is I see it as a channel opening, right? It's helping open up a channel of purpose. Well, it makes sense. If I open up a channel and feed caffeine as the chaser, then we're going to instigate activity.
Yes.
If we open it up the other way, it's calming things.
Yeah. And I think as opening up that channel for that milk thistle, that we will get to.
Yeah, I love
as a
that.
liver support.
So taurine, not only is it helping with opening up this channel with the effect of influencing this calming effect, it also helps metabolize melatonin.
That's correct. And most people don't know that though.
No.
They do not know that.
No, and so that's a factor in another additional reason why it is helpful in the sleep function. Glycine's next. We have glycine in the body. One of the things glycine's going to do that's going to help the body is regulate the body's temperature. We know that temperature is a key part of sleep.
Yep. It also regulates blood sugar levels.
Yes. In that, with the blood sugar levels aligned, you talked about earlier, a good exterior climate factor for sleeping well is actually getting the temperature of the room to 68 degrees or so, right? Why? Because that also helps the body stay at that cooler. It calms the body. It's in the cooler temperatures, less activity going on. So there's less heat being generated within the body. And that's the state of temperature the body needs.
It's a homeostasis state.
Yeah. Yep. And it goes through that. And as I recall, the body will actually go through this cooling down process. And with the help of glycine, it's influencing that. And then about 2 hours before you need to wake up, it's starting to slowly warm up.
That's right.
Again.
Yep.
And it's being made ready for the day again.
And you get to that basal body temperature.
Okay, L-theanine.
This is my favorite.
This is a great ingredient, right? And we talked about the GABA influence of L-theanine, but it almost has, well, not it almost has, it has the opposite effect of caffeine.
Yeah, it's a calming agent.
Yes.
It's a calming agent, but I use it a lot in my practice for individuals with anxiety.
Yeah.
So when you're going to bed at night and you just feel anxious, you feel like you've got something heavy on your chest or in your mind, L-theanine has been proven time and time again to really help with those calming effects. So I love that L-theanine is in here.
Yep. And it's a great, and like I said, with that combination with taurine, I think to me, in my mind, and you know, I'm sure you'll have comments, but in my mind, I'm thinking of just like a tunnel being open, a pathway to successful sleeping, and then I shoot L-theanine down that pathway.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, and L-theanine and the GABA are both neurotransmitters.
Yes.
So neurotransmitters, we all know neurotransmitters are made in the gut.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you've had, you know, whether it's energy drinks, whether it's a heavy meal, maybe you've got an imbalance of microbiome in the gut, that is going to affect the way that the brain works at night, whether it's able to shut down or not shut down. And so having these neurotransmitters on board to help with that is so beneficial.
So beneficial. It's such a powerhouse. As we build this out, we talk about you're not going to be surprised that melatonin is in here. What you will be surprised in is the amount of melatonin that's in here. I mean, we already talked about the nano impact of all the reduced amount of ingredients and how beneficial that is, reducing stress on the body. But in my opinion, and feel free to share yours, that the initial approach, an early approach with sleep aids was, let's pound melatonin. Let's just give tons and tons of melatonin because we know that that's what the body naturally produces to help with the sleep cycle. One of the things, the body is really smart.
So smart, so intelligent.
It always wants to regulate the balance, right? It wants to, and when it's going into the sleep cycle, it knows, your body knows it wants to fall asleep and go through these cycles, and it wants to produce melatonin. Now, you can totally disrupt the cycle, like you said,
Right.
by different exposures, different
there's
conditions.
Stress, there's diet, there's radiation, there's so many influences that happen.
Right.
And that little pineal gland that's supposed to be doing its job, it doesn't have the ability to do its job.
Yep. And so one of the things that is actually really consistent throughout research when you're talking about melatonin is that actually the most influential amounts of melatonin are low dose melatonin.
The less sometimes is better.
Yeah, because what you're trying to do is just do, again, a nudge. You're just trying to kind of whisper in the ear of the body to say, it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Let's make some melatonin. Let's get into cycle.
Yeah, and absolutely. And just like we talked earlier, you add those influences of frequencies to the body knows what to do with that. So you don't need to give it more. It's just you've already kind of whispered in its ear, hey, I'm going to be giving this to you later.
Yeah.
Go ahead and use it.
When you're doing all of the things, right? You're creating the right environment, you're adding the right support, even the right supplement, you're journaling, you're trying to measure all the differences.
And you're moving, right?
And you're moving, yes, you're doing all the activities. It's not going to be one thing, it's not going to be this perfect linear solution.
Nothing
it never is.
Nothing is.
Never is. So that's why your body is also an experiment for you. This is the first time you're doing it. So figure it out, right?
I love that you just said that. Your body is an experiment for you because we are all so different. We have different genetic makeups.
Yep.
We have different foods that we eat. We have different supplements that we take. Our stressors are different.
Yeah.
We are all individual. So what works for you may not work for me.
Right.
And that is okay. I really would like all of you to understand that it is not a cookie cutter approach.
Yeah,
you can adjust. You can adjust this, just like everything. Everything is flexible. Be flexible.
Okay, so let me get up on my soapbox, right, with that and say, if there's anything that we're trying to do at Solex, among those things is for you to figure out how to make you the very best you.
That's right.
Right? That's all we're trying to do,
We're
really.
here to support you.
That's what we're trying to do, is figure out how to make that work for you. The key person in all of this is you, right? I can't take action for you, just like you can't take action for me, right? To help me get better.
I always say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
You can, it's true. And so we all got to get on this. I want to learn how to make the best version of me. And I know you're all here. If you're here and you're watching this, you've already chosen that. I already know that. And so these are just hopefully ideas. If you haven't thought of them before, great. If they're just reminders, fantastic. If you already know this, great. I just hope you're doing it. Right?
Right.
Magnesium citrate. To me, this part of this is the muscular side again. It has a nervous system influence of calming, but it's this muscular. Every muscle in the body has magnesium, deals with magnesium. And magnesium citrate, my first touch into getting a sleep aid was with a magnesium citrate, and it was so powerful. I thought it was miraculous.
Right. Well, so there's two types of magnesiums in here. There's a magnesium glycinate and a magnesium citrate, which are both going to relax the body.
Yep.
One is going to relax the muscles a little more than the other, and the other one is going to relax the digestive system a little more, which is going to help the liver and the detoxification pathways, because citrate has also been known in small doses to help with elimination.
So another ingredient, and you love this one, and well, you love these last two in particular, but chamomile, right?
Chamomile.
You took an
Who
extract.
doesn't love a little bit of chamomile tea even at night?
Right.
So why not put a little chamomile oil in to create the effects of calmness?
So calmness, again, we're supporting muscular calming. We're supporting this whole body, get into, don't move a muscle, right?
Right.
Let's just go to sleep and make that impression so deep in your mattress, you remember where you slept. You see where you slept, right?
Mhm.
Because you didn't even move tonight. You know, that's so powerful. Okay, with that, one heavy hitter in this pillar of, dealing with the nervous system, the muscular skeletal system, and then you bring in this brilliant ad of supporting the liver, and we have milk thistle. Okay?
Yes.
You love this one.
I
Why?
love this one. I love this one because the body, in order for detoxification to happen, the liver has over 500 different processes that it has to do. And it's literally in the middle of the sleep cycle.
Mhm.
It's from 1 to 3 a.m. with the circadian rhythm cycles.
Yep.
So if people are waking up between 1 and 3, their liver is trying to do a job that it's just having troubles doing. So perhaps some congestion is happening.
Yeah.
We all have a little bit of liver congestion. We are influenced by so many things that subject us to the congestion aspect.
Yeah.
So being able to provide an herb in here that is influenced to allow for sleep to be a little bit more smooth, if it's not hurtling if there's no hurdles for the liver to have to bury its way through,
Yep.
the body can much more easily detox, which is going to not disrupt that sleep cycle.
I love that it does this. I love that we have this powerhouse of addressing what is not in the marketplace, right? This combination is not in the marketplace. Couldn't find it anywhere because we're trying to address different pathways into touching the calming effect of all of these systems, including the liver process. With that, you guys, this is Sleep by Solex. We love this product. We're a huge fan. The nano process, the liposomal, it is a powerhouse. We think that you will have great experiences as you delve into testing out how this will work best with improving your sleeping experience.
Yeah, give it a try if you don't believe us.
SEFI is an acronym for Subtle Energy Frequency Imprinter. This technology presents a personal menu of thousands of frequencies that address various imbalances in the body. SEFI is designed to capture, amplify, and imprint subtle energy frequencies that can be broadcast to an individual or imprinted into an object. There are many categories in this section. Quantum Reach contains specific frequencies for emotions and body functions. Quantum Frequency targets specific frequencies for physical functions. Quantum Affirmations contain affirmative frequencies for balancing emotions. Quantum Flowers are frequencies extracted from a wide selection of flowers to target emotional issues. Quantum Chakras have 7 different chakra frequencies to balance energy. Quantum Homeopathics contain frequencies extracted from flowers and other natural elements. Energy Homeoenergetics is a combination of homeopathic and energetic frequencies. There are many wonderful options when using the SEFI feature of AO Scan. In this video, we will show you one example to get you started. At the top of your screen, you will see an erase button. To erase any energies or frequencies in an object, tap the Erase button. Place the object on the fire and tap Start. Now you are ready to imprint that object with any frequencies you desire. For example, if you would like to imprint abundance into your object, you would first tap Quantum Reach. Then under Select Affirmation, choose Abundance. Place your object on the picture and tap Imprint. If you would like to send the frequency to a recipient rather than imprint it into an object, simply choose 2-minute broadcast or continuous broadcast, after making sure the correct recipient is showing in the SEFI target here. Want more information? Tap this question mark to learn more about SEFI. To return to the main menu, tap the AO Scan logo here.